for joining us today. I really just wanted to meet with you to give you some updates from my team, the Consolidated Finance and Applications team, as we're getting ready to move into this new school year with our 22 grants. Much easier just to have a conversation than it is to try to compile everything in emails, and I'll have to answer many return replies on what does it mean. Much easier just to talk with you today. So if you're joining us, I appreciate you joining me today. I do have my team members on the call with us today. Marcus Corbett, Sheree Mosley, Theresa Gregory, Leslie Blost, and we have two new team members that I'm going to introduce to you a little bit later on today. Dr. Longshore is also on the call along with Jules Stanley. So thanks to all of you who have joined us today. I do see that everyone's microphone is muted and their cameras are turned off. Please make sure that you do have your microphone muted as we go throughout the session, just because we are recording, so that those who could not meet with us today can access this on the website later on and get caught up with where we are today. So I wanted to meet with you for three purposes today. I want to talk to you about indirect cost rate and how we are changing some of our procedures on the Consolidated Finance and Applications team for year 2 of a grant cycle with working with indirect cost rates. I also want to talk to you about our setting some expectations for claiming along the lines of continuous improvement. We are constantly trying to improve our policies and procedures and set some expectations. So I'm going to talk to you about claiming today. I also want to introduce two new team members from my team to you today, and then talk to you about how that will impact who your program manager is for Title I, Title II, Title IV, Title V. And then I'll take any questions at the end of the presentation. There should be a chat feature on your team's screen. If you have any questions while I am talking through some things with you, please log your questions into the chat box. Martha Walker, who is new to my team, is going to field those questions for me. What I would like to do is I'd like to talk about changes to indirect cost rates, and then take questions from the chat feature on what I have said about indirect cost rates procedures, and then I'll move to claiming expectations. If you have questions at that time about that piece, if you would type those questions into the chat features, and then I will have Martha read those questions to me when I'm finished with that piece. And then after that, we'll move into program manager assignments and the introduction of my two new team members. So I would like to take questions kind of broken up by topic. So please type your questions into that chat feature, and I will circle up with Martha once I finish discussing indirect cost rate changes. Okay, so as you know, all of our grants from my team, Title I, II, IV, and V, they run in a 2-year grant cycle. If you are a veteran to federal programs and you have done this for a while, you will recall that we used to do carryover with Title I. We moved away from that. And so now all of the grants that my team reviews are open for 2 years. Up until this year, the 22 grants, we have worked with indirect cost rates in a particular way, and I'm going to describe that way that we have done it now for some years. So our process is that we go in and we put in a preliminary allocation for Title I. When we put in that preliminary allocation, say it's for the 22 Title I preliminary, we upload an indirect cost rate that is current at that point.
To see if they're going to update it to the mass.
Let me pause and say, if you are joining us, please make sure that you are on mute. Your microphone is on mute. Thank you so much. So when we upload preliminary Title I allocations, we input the indirect cost that is current at that point. And then in the final allocation, we come back in around the fall, around October, when we give out a Title I final allocation. We tweak the GEM system to that new allocation amount, and we put in the indirect cost rate at that point that has been talked about with auditing services per district. So we do one massive indirect cost upload along with one massive change to the allocations for Title I at that point in the fall. We do the same thing for Title II, Title IV, and Title V. We come in and tweak for allocation amount and indirect cost rate changes. Our procedure up until now has been that indirect cost rate would remain in the GEM system, it would remain in the GEM system for the duration of the grant. It has come to my knowledge that that situation needs to be updated. And what I mean by that is an indirect cost rate is an annual thing. So we are going to have to move to changing our procedure for how we have handled indirect cost rate with the 22 grants, Title I, II, IV, and V. So I'm going to explain what that will look like. So in the fall, when we have Sheree to go in and update the allocations in GEMS and to update the indirect cost rate, it will stay the same allocation-wise for the duration of the grant. But when we come into year 2 of the grant, which would be the fall of the next year, we will have to go back in and update the indirect cost rate at that point, because the indirect cost rate is only good for 1 year. It's an annual thing. So what you can expect is in the fall of next year, around the time that you're getting your 23 final allocation, we will have to go back into the older grants, which would be 22 at that point, and at the same time that we are updating the 23 for Title I final, we will go back into the older 22 grant and update the indirect cost at that time. So what does that mean for us as far as what will it look like on your side? So what that will look like is you will have to, at that point, go in and tweak the system based upon the current indirect cost rate at that time. Now, we have gotten questions about this over the last couple of years, but we did not change the procedure at that point. So we are moving towards it will have to be tweaked. So I wanted to tell you on the front end to keep that in mind as far as your budgeting and planning, that that tweak will come later on to you. Now, what does that look like? That means you're going to have to edit GEMS. So on our side, all 86 districts will be tweaking and sending it back in if necessary for like an amendment, almost the same as if we were giving out a tweak to the allocations. Also, you would have to probably change gaps if you're affected by that. And we will have to do a revised GAN. So the superintendent will receive an amended GAN to the 22 grants when we make that change. So it will say Amendment 1, and then it will describe the change to the indirect cost rate at that point. So the super would receive an amended GAN. We would tweak the GEMS and GAP system. I also wanted to let you know that a memo will be coming out along with all the other memos that go out. I think it's the 10th of every month to the superintendents describing this process. So if not everyone in your district is on this call today, that is fine. They can watch the video later through our website, but a memo will also be coming out to the superintendents and district coordinators and district finance so that everybody is on the same page with how we're moving forward with making this change to how we deal with indirect cost rates. Okay, so we have not done this in the past. This will be a little bit different going forward. It will not be done until after that first year of the grant. So that being said, that is topic number one. So Martha, if you're on the call, if you can chime in to let me know if I have any questions regarding changes to indirect cost rates.
So I have a question from Denise Ling. Can the indirect cost rate updates coincide with a claim period, so each claim period will be clearly aligned to the specific indirect cost rate?
Denise, if you don't mind, if we can have a sidebar conversation and really talk more through that, and go from there. Okay, I see another one from Phyllis. Is that right, Martha?
Yes. So when you say the change will be in the fall, do you mean at or after the 15-month point?
Probably after the 15-month point. About the same time that we will be working on doing a final 23 Title I allocation change, approximately the same time around October, we would go back into the 22 grants to make that change. Most of the time, the new indirect cost rates don't come out online for every district until late September, so it will be on into October before we could do anything.
Okay, and from Ms. Nelson Reed, will we still have the ability to adjust the indirect costs within our program?
It will the setup will be the same within GEMS. It will just be tweaked. So it will give you a max and a min on the budget overview page. So you can make your adjustments there within the GEMS system.
And those are all the questions that I see for right now for indirect costs.
Okay. If you are on the call and you think of questions later and you really want to talk through that or email me about that, please feel free to do that. I'm open to having some dialogue as this is a new procedure for us. I do want to pause.
Did you attach something?
If someone is on the call that doesn't have their mic muted, if you will, just pause and mute your mic. Thank you. I do want to pause and tell you that just as we asked the state to have stakeholder meetings for Title I, Title II, whichever grant that you're working on, bring stakeholders to the table and really discuss these things out. I want to sidebar and tell you that I have done that. I've met with a group of stakeholders to discuss all this, finance being included, people from the field being included, just to see how it would affect, or if there was any outlying thoughts that I had not, thought through. So for everything that I present today, I have met with stakeholders about that. So I wanted to let you know that what we ask you to do, we do as well, because it's, it's logical to talk through how things will impact our grants. So I wanted to let you know that. Okay.
You
have another question?
Additional question.
Okay.
From Ms. Calhoun, and Mr. Edwards also had this same question. If the indirect cost rate is lower in year 2, won't that put us over the max in GEMS if we claimed year 1 at the higher rate?
And that is something that you're going to have to keep in mind budget-wise. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to go ahead and have this conversation early on, because, if the max is more than what you were allowed to take the first year, there won't be a problem. But if it is less, that's where the kinks are going to come in. So you're going to have to kind of plan and keep that in the back of your mind going into this. If you have specific questions that you want to talk through, though, please feel free to call me outside of this call, and we can talk through what your concerns might be. I want to make sure everybody's good and understands how to do that, and I'm able to kind of hear your concerns and talk you through that. Okay, any other questions on indirect cost rate?
Okay. I don't really see any questions.
Thank you, Martha. Okay, in the spirit of continuous improvement, every year that we try to close out a grant, we are always hopeful that money is not left on the table. And so for years, those of you that have been around for a while, you have either received emails regarding claiming from myself or Karen Cook or Sheree Mosley, reminding everybody about please make your quarterly claims. Finance also sends out reminders. And that is in the spirit of please don't leave anything on the table. If you have been a recipient of additional funds that had to be placed into the GEM system in the past, you will probably appreciate not having to deal with doing that little bit of extra work. Although the money is good and we appreciate additional funding, we have to give out additional funding sometimes when money is left on the table. And so going back into the GEM system and putting a new line for additional funding and having to go in and budget that way, it does bring about quite a bit of additional work. We also don't want to have to send any money back to the U.S. Department of Ed. So we constantly are reminding everybody of dates that are coming, quarterly deadlines. You know, you can claim monthly if you'd like to. You don't have to claim quarterly. But in the spirit of continuous improvement and trying to make sure that we are all on the same page with claiming, our division has decided that we are going to set some claiming expectations. This is not something that we have done in the past. The only claiming expectation that we have had in the past is that you make it down to the 15% with Title I. So what we would like to do is to set some expectations for the districts per quarter, per grant, so that we can ensure that no funding is left on the table as we close out grants. So I have met with stakeholders regarding what would be a reasonable expectation for claiming per grant. We have talked with finance, we have talked with the monitoring team. Everybody has been included. And so I want to share with you a chart that I will send out later on today to all the districts so that you can see what our goals are. We're moving into setting some goals for you rather than just sending an email and saying, just a reminder, please submit your second quarter claim. You are going to have it on the front end going into the 22 grants. What is the expectation for claiming the percentage of claims to be turned in by the end of quarter 2 or quarter 3 or quarter 4? What is the expectation? What I would like to see happen is that in your district, you take this chart and you set up a plan for claiming. So you should have a plan for how are we going to get at least this amount claimed by quarter 2, at least this amount claimed by quarter 3. What's that going to look like on our end? Sheree Mosley will be in contact on the front end of claiming and on the back end of claiming. She will be contacting the coordinators. So if you're a Title I coordinator, you're going to hear from her regarding Title I claims. If you're Title II, now some of you run all the programs, so she probably will just contact in one email saying this is where you are. She will be tracking the claims via our GAP system. So I want you to know that this is going to become a little more intensive than what it has been in the past. Not saying that I am trying to tamper with your risk rating, but more a spirit of setting goals, establishing goals, and meeting our goals so that no funds are left on the table and also so that we don't have to loop back around and give out additional funds in the old grants. I'll give you an example, maybe budgeted in a 20 grant, but claimed in the 19 grant. To be quite honest, that's aggravating on your end and my end to try to work with that. So we are trying to move towards leaving no money. Now, do I believe no money will ever be left? No. However, we don't want to leave an abundance of money that has to be redistributed. So we're going to move into looking at this. I will send this out later on again today. If you have questions, please type your questions into the chat box. And once I finish my explanations, we'll do like we did with indirect cost rate, and Martha can fill those questions for me. So if you give me just a moment to share my screen. Okay. Martha, are you able to see on your side the chart?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so this is the chart that will come out to you later on today or either early in the morning. I'm going to send it to all the title coordinators, federal programs coordinators. You will need to share it with your finance people. The way that I will send this out is I will go into DMs and pull my contacts for Title 1, 2, 4, and 5. And you'll be on that email list, and you should receive this along with an email, like a follow-up email from today's meeting where I'm describing what we said about indirect cost rates. The charts will be attached, so on and so forth. The memo, though, will not be attached because it is going to come out to the superintendent with all the memos that tend to run out the 10th of every month to the superintendents. But this chart will be attached to that email. So I want to take a moment to explain it. So if you look at Title I, and if you look at the green pieces, you will see that I have broken it down into 4 quarters based upon the year. So the top is year 1 and the bottom is year 2. So you'll see claiming percentage expectation year 1, quarter 1, and the dates. Claiming percentage expectations year 1, quarter 2, and the dates. Year 1, quarter 3, year 1, quarter 4. If you move down to the chart at the bottom, you will see this is year 2, quarter 1, year 2, quarter 2, year 2, quarter 3, year 2, quarter 4. Okay, the grants are open for 2 years. All right, that being said, if you take a look at Title I first, you know that you are expected to get down to the 15% within the first year of the grant. So that one is going to be a natural progression. This does not annihilate the opportunity to use a waiver once every 3 years. That will still be in effect. And so if that is you and you employ the grant, the waiver, if you request a waiver and we give you a waiver, then of course this first line, you won't have to follow that. But for everyone else that is not eligible to use a waiver, this is the guideline that will be used to get us to the 85%. Notice that in year 1 for these grants, for Title I, 2, 4, and 5, quarter 1, there are no expectations for claiming. If you've worked with these grants long enough, you know that it takes us a while just to get them approved. We're doing 86. We're looking at 86 of each one of these grants, so it takes a little while. So I'm not expecting any claiming to go on quarter 1, but to begin to pick up quarter 2. I am also aware that my team has to be finished so that you can do your claiming. So not only are you getting goals, we are getting goals as well. We have goals established for when we need to have everything reviewed and approved. That means not just that we're going to approve without sending it back and forth with revisions if necessary, but that all of the back and forth be finished and everything cleaned up as good as we can to have it approved so that you can start your claiming. So right now, I know that you are submitting Title I and Title II. We are looking. I know that a lot of them are sitting with me. I am in the process of reviewing myself. So just as a side note, you should start to see a lot of input coming back for Title I very soon. So the claiming expectations would begin in Q2 for year 1 in the top chart. You notice that Title I looks very different from the other grants. Title II, 4, and 5 kind of follow suit. I am also aware that in the past it has taken us a little time to get out REAP allocations. So know that we are working to get that out as well to be fair to you so that you can do your claiming there as well. Okay, so that is year 1. You see like 15%, 30%, and 50% for Title II, 4, and 5. Then when we move down into year 2, it starts to pick up the pace. I know because I have been there on your level that your mind may be spinning about, ooh, how can I get that done? And so I want you to begin to think and get a plan together about the activities within these projects and what can be spent and claimed first that can help you meet these goals. So I know salaries are claimed, but it might be that you buy your supplies and materials on the front end and have that claimed. So you need to be thinking about a plan for the specific activities that are written into those grants to help you meet those goals. I don't expect you to have that plan right now. This is something that you're going to need to go back and think about. I am hopeful that you'll meet with your stakeholders about it and really sit in the spirit of continuous improvement to how can we get what we need to the children in a timely manner and claimed in a timely manner. I don't have to tell you, I know that you already know this, but these funds are there to support the students and the teachers depending upon the grant that we're referencing. So it's important that the funding is out there and that the claiming is going on and the needs of the students being met. Okay, so as you see year 2 and the quarters there, you will see that it will gradually increase. For Title I, there's not much left on the table after you've hit the 85% year 1, but it will begin to kind of step up in year 2 for Titles 2, 4, and 5. So whereas in the past, you would be receiving an email, kind of a generic email from myself. Now the email will be a little more specific. It will be coming from Sheree Mosley, who will be looking to see, for example, if in Q2 you've claimed 15% year 1 for Title II. She's going to be tracking that in Excel files. And she'll be communicating with you. She'll say, this is where you are. This is what it looks like you have claimed in gaps up to this point. I just want to touch base to see where you are and what your plan is, you know, at this point. It's just more a communication piece between Sheree and the districts, and then she will report, she will keep me in the loop as to where you are with meeting the expectations. But again, this is not meant to be a gotcha. I don't want anyone to feel like you're out to get me on my risk assessment. Again, this is just trying to improve our processes so that no funding is left on the table. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can come back. And I will go back to Martha to see if there are any questions that I can answer regarding claiming processes for the 22 grants. We will start this with the 22 grants.
There are a few comments that I know you will be able to take a look at later. But the first question that I see, is there a reason Title III is not included on here?
I do not oversee the Title III program, so I'm having this conversation for the grants that I oversee, which is Title I, II, IV, and V. You may hear more about Title III, N&D, McKinney-Vento, going forward. But today's meeting is just for me to describe how the Consolidated Finance and Applications team will be handling Titles I, II, IV, and V. Okay, any other questions, Martha?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's scroll back up here. Okay, what is the penalty for not meeting expectations? Is it the risk rating?
Okay. I feel like I really tried to articulate that we're not trying to have a gotcha, point. Right now, it is in the spirit of continuous improvement and a lot of communication between my office and the field, claiming wise. I really, if I had to say, if it looks like you are really working to meet the goal, but yet it is not met, we would just have a discussion about what is your plan? Why do you feel that you were not able to meet it? I'm not moving into trying to target your risk assessment at this point. We're just beginning the stages of let's have some expectations rather than a simple email reminder that goes out once a quarter.
Okay. And another question, what if we know that a big ticket item will affect expenditures differently than in the chart? For example, a summer program that consumes a large percentage of designated funds.
Yes. I'm not sure who asked that question, but that's a very good question. And I was kind of alluding to that a while ago, that in your planning, when you plan these activities per grant, keep in mind what you could go ahead and claim. What can I go ahead and purchase? If I'm going to do a lot of supplies and materials, maybe I'll go ahead and get that on the front end to try to help me meet this claiming expectation. But if you do have a situation like that, I would like to talk to you individually about it so that we can make note and have some conversation about how that might impact and what we might expect goal-wise for your particular district. So call me separately, send me an email so that we can have some private discussion.
Okay, and then here from Rhonda Robinson, so we're moving to 2 years, 24 months, and not the full 27 months to spend funds?
No, I did not say that. It's the same. The grant will run for the 27 months like normal.
Okay,
anything else?
Some specific questions from Miss Vanessa Nelson Reed. If you want to take a look at that in the chat box, let's see.
If it's very specific, Vanessa and I can speak offline. That's fine.
One of the questions she does have is, how is this aligned with ESSER 1, 2, and 3 requirements for reporting claims?
Two very separate things. My office does not have anything to do with ESSER. So what I'm communicating today is only for the programs that I oversee, which is Title I, II, IV, and V.
Okay. And she had a few other comments that I know you will be able to take a look at later.
Okay.
Ms. Nelson Reed.
Sounds good.
And those were all the questions. Oh wait, let's see. Again from Rhonda Robinson. But we are expected to have the 100% of the funds spent by June 30th, 24 months.
100% by the end of the grant. we're going to try to leave no money on the table.
And Ms. Vanessa Nelson-Reed is requesting if she can speak.
Vanessa, I don't mind if it's not extremely specific, but if it is specific, I would rather us talk offline.
No, it's not specific. And
okay.
About outline. I only made my comments because we have several of those reporting. That's why I was asking whether it was long, because it seems like we're getting a couple of things to report claims, and all of them are different. That's all. I just suggested that maybe it would help if there was some common alignment. So that's my only suggestion. Thank you for taking the comment.
Okay, it's very difficult to hear. There's some static there. So I was not able to clearly hear what you said, Vanessa.
My apologies. Can you hear me now?
It's a little bit better.
Okay. I was only saying that it would help if there was some alignment with the reporting for claims with regard, because we're getting different ones for ESSER, and then the business office has its own schedule. That was my only comment. Thank you for taking the comment.
Okay. Okay, I'm seeing that there are a couple of you saying 100% of the funds must be spent by June the 30th. July the 30th is popping up. Yes, like Dr. Longshore is saying, it's still 27 months, so I may need to edit the chart if needed there. So I'm not taking months from you, so no one have a moment thinking I'm going to take some months from you. Okay. All right, any other questions about indirect cost rate or just mere setting some goals?
I don't see any questions right now. There was a question from Tracy Sweet that you were able to address just now. And let's see. That is all I see for right now.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now I want to move into talking about program managers. I know there's been a lot of shifting over the last couple of years with this team that was Jules Stanley's team. We have had Maria Boggs to retire. Karen Cook has moved over to being team lead of the consolidated monitoring. There's been a lot of shifting. Jewel has moved into assistant director, and we've brought on some new employees. And so today it is my honor and privilege to get to introduce two new team members to you. If you were at new coordinators, you saw these lovely ladies, but I held off with my formal introductions until today. Martha Walker is coming to us from Richland 2. She had 5 years as a middle school ELA teacher and 7 years as a magnet program coordinator there. Martha, if you have been around for a long time and you remember Maria Boggs, Martha is taking Maria Boggs's place in our office. So I'm very happy to have her join our team. She is highly intelligent and a very quick study, I must say. So she has turned her camera on, and I'm going to let her just greet the state today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to join the team, and I'm looking forward to working with all of my assigned districts and providing you technical assistance and feedback. And I look forward to getting to know all of the contacts that I'll be working with in each school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. As I moved into the team lead position, that left the Ed Associate position that I was currently filling open as well. And so Sarah Wagers is coming in to take that position in our office. Some of you may know Sarah Wagers from the grants accounting side. I have stolen Sarah Wagers away from grants accounting, and she is going to be working on our team. So Sarah is taking the place of She's the new Jennifer Rhodes. She's going to assume the duties that I had when Jules Stanley was team lead. And so Sarah is coming to us having worked in grants accounting. She has an accounting degree and has worked in the accounting field since 2008. So I'm going to give her a moment just to greet you guys as well.
Good morning. I look forward to working with you all and I look forward to working with you all on the programmatic side. I think I've worked with a few of you on the finance side already, so I'm excited to start. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Martha. We're so excited to have you ladies join us. They have really come in the last couple of weeks and have learned a lot. They're a great asset to the office. So the others of us are glad to have them come along because we've been reviewing and looking at all the applications down to team members. So this is going to be an awesome kind of boost for us for getting our reviews kind of expedited a little more quickly to have these ladies to join us. So anytime we bring on new members, especially when you have more than one, it can kind of cause a shift to program managers and who is going to work with what district. I want to say it is a privilege for us to work with you guys. We love partnering with you. We really had a good time at New Coordinators a couple of weeks ago, getting to see so many new faces that are coming on to work with Title I, II, IV, or V. And so we're very excited to be able to work with you. Currently in the GEM system, you are assigned either myself, Jules Stanley, Marcus Corbett, Leslie, Theresa, or Sheree. Okay, about midweek next week, you're going to see a change within GEMS for who the contact is for your district. I won't make that change today. Today, I'm just introducing everybody. But about midweek next week, we're going to swap over to who your new person will be. So I want to talk about how that might impact you. Let's just say that you've been working with Marcus up until this point, and then maybe now you're going to shift to Sarah Wagers. What will happen in our office is that Marcus and Sarah will have a conversation as to what he has done with your plans up to this point, and then she will take it from there. Okay. Bringing on 2 new people is going to cause a shift amongst all of us. Jules Stanley has been filling the gap because I was down 2 positions for a little while. So she is going to come back off of reviewing so many districts as she is in a new role of assistant director. And so that produces a change as well, being that I will be doing a second level in-depth look for the 2 new ladies who I am bringing on at the director level of review. I am not going to be assigned to as many districts as I have had in the past because I'm going to also need to look at all of their assigned district plans very carefully as they're in the process of learning. I will tell you that they are a quick study, and so I don't have any worries about how they'll look at things. I've done a lot of one-on-one training, and in our office we really collaborate a lot, and so I look forward to having the team members come together and talk about where they are in your review of each district. So please know that it's not going to be that you are dropped or that you're going to have to do double work or send in extra revisions because we are changing over program manager wise. Like I said earlier, I'm going to send a follow-up email after today. I will also put an attachment there with your new program manager. I'm going to show you that in just a moment, but it will be attached to the email as well. So you'll have the claiming expectation chart along with the new program manager's checklist chart. So you'll know who your person is. I'm going to contact GEMS probably on Monday and ask for them to make these changes. So you will probably see the changes begin to occur Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. But we continue our review of Title I and Title II currently. So again, I'm going to share my screen so that you can see program manager changes that are going to take effect beginning next week. Okay. And you notice that these are project assignments just for Title 1, 2, 4, and 5. And I'll give you a moment to kind of read, and then I'll scroll down. I have tried to keep some of the same districts with the same people as best as I could, so you may find that you don't have a change. Okay. Again, this will take place midweek next week. Happy to bring these ladies on board and continue our partnering with you for the students of South Carolina. So I don't think there are any, probably any questions that will go into the chat box program manager wise. There may be comments that I have not had a chance to look at while I've been doing the talking. I will take a look at that after this meeting. Also, if you have specific questions, please know that you can approach me about that. I do not find that offensive nor attacking or anything like that. I want to work with you to make this process function well for you and function well for our team. So please know, just like I tell my team members, my door is always open. I am here to serve you as you serve the students of South Carolina. So please feel free to partner with me however I can help. If you have questions, feel free to call me or to send me an email and we can work side by side. So thanks for the comments that I see popping up at the top of my screen welcoming these two new ladies. It's going to be a wonderful experience. And I also want to give kudos to my team members who I've had now for a while. They have done a marvelous job. They did a great job at new coordinators. We really have solidified as a great team, and so we look forward to continuing to work with you in this 22 grant year. So thank you so much, and appreciate your time today.
And Jennifer, we do have a couple of additional questions.
Okay.
From Tracy Sweet. She would like to know the deadline for amendments for expiring grants.
The finance department did set an amendment deadline of June the 7th because they were working with the fiscal year. However, I will continue to approve amendments as they come in. I know everyone is trying to make claims with August the 15th coming, so I will continue to receive and approve amendments as I get them for gems and gaps. I will say a little push towards please make sure if you need to do an amendment to help yourself with the August the 15th time frame, please try to do that as soon as possible. I'm trying to process them daily. It is priority number one for my team to look at the older grants as I realize grants are expiring. So thank you, Tracy.
And then from Phyllis Overstreet, back to indirect, could a step-by-step system or instructions be developed for situations where a new lower indirect rate creates an overclaim situation?
Okay, read that again, Martha.
Okay. So she was saying back to indirect, could a step-by-step system be developed for situations where a new lower indirect rate creates an overclaim situation?
Yes, I mean, I don't mind helping to develop some steps to kind of keep problems from occurring. And Phyllis, we might want to talk about it, you know, offline so that I can clearly understand the ask. But yeah, I'm happy to help develop something to help with troubleshooting.
Okay, and Denise Matson had a connection to that as well. She said it could be set up to have two indirect cost sections to accommodate both years.
Are we referring to gaps, ladies? Are any comments in this section about, yes or no if they're referencing gaps. Not necessarily.
Not
Okay.
yeah.
Let's have an offline conversation about it if you don't mind.
And then we have a question about being able to access this recording.
Yes, so it is being recorded, and then we have a person who handles technology within our division. His name is Eric Brunson. He will upload it to our website, I would say no later than early next week. And so, yes, it will be available. Once he uploads it, I'm happy to send out an email letting you all know where you can find it and when it is available so you can share it.
Okay, and from Denise Ling, when might we see 22 budgets loaded in gaps?
You won't see 22 budgets loaded into gaps until we do final allocations. So probably around the October mark, we will push out final allocations and gems will be tweaked, gaps will be uploaded, and again, will go out to the superintendent. It normally is around the same time every year. We have to wait until we receive all of our information from the U.S. Department of Ed. We have to receive our full grant award notification before we can send any GANs out to the school districts. So that normally happens around September, October-ish. Okay.
And one last question from Vicki Bowers again, for expenditures made July to September, what is the deadline for amendments? Final claim due November 15th.
What is the deadline for
amendments?
I will continue to process amendments for gems and gaps until the closeout of the grant.
Okay, and that concludes all of the questions that I see in the chat box.
Okay, let me toss it back to Sarah Wagers. Is there anything from the gap side that you want to say as far as claiming is concerned regarding any of these questions that I have received? Any clarity you want to bring?
Nothing that I can really think of.
Okay. All right. If you have any questions regarding dates for claiming or anything like that, please feel free to shoot Sarah Wagers an email. She is our GAPS expert, and we continue to provide support to you as best we can. I appreciate your time today. For those of you that are signed up for new coordinators on the new coordinators day 2 on the 16th, please know that we have moved that into a virtual meeting rather than an in-person meeting. I love meeting in person. It's great to see you all face to face, but I realize that that is opening week for school for a lot of districts, and I don't want to take your time if you need to be in the field helping out with the start of school. So we thought we would do that one virtually so that it can be posted online for later access. That particular training is going to focus on the basics of Title II, Title IV, and Title V with a little bit of physical information for people who are new to the program. So if you're a new Title II, IV, or V person, you would want to either attend that training or listen to it once it is posted later on, because it is just a basic foundational training. So we look forward to seeing you all. If you need any information or clarity from me, please feel free to reach out via phone or email. Thank you so much.
And Jennifer, Audrey Brady is asking if you could reshare your screen with the program managers so she could take
Yes, I can. Okay. Okay, and I'll send this out again later on today to everybody so that you will have it. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great afternoon.